All right, guys and gals, thanks for tuning in and thanks for coming back to the Cardboard Crawler's Garage. We're going to be doing a little bit of cut work today on a body for this Maz Designs chassis that we're building up. This is going to be kind of a lightweight comp buggy build. This is the first time I ever did a paint job on a small body or any kind of model body or anything. My first use of an airbrush and my first Lexan job. So critique it if you like, but it doesn't bother me that it has a couple of flaws in it. And yeah, let's move along. So you can see that this is already taped off right here, and then I actually have put a dark line in that as well with a Gundam marker, fine tip pen, and I find that I'm just I just am able to follow it really well that way, and as I do my cleanup, because I don't cut right to that tape line. That's not the point of the line. The point of the line is to tell me that that's the end, the finished end, the finished edge. This pencil mark or pen mark right here that's curved in the body, I'm not going to follow that. I talked to Maz. I thought that maybe I could sink this body. I mean, I could if I wanted to, but he said he doesn't really recommend it. You're not gaining anything. So I'm just, I'm going to go to the natural edge. I had just drawn that in there thinking that I might want to chop that. And you could, if you wanted to, that'd take another 3/16 of an inch off of there probably. But we're just going to do these fenders up here and come from the natural tape line, the original. That's the natural, the flow right there. So we'll get it done. So I just use this. This is, I believe, they call this quarter, or I don't know if it's 4 or 5 millimeter tape. You can get it at Hobby Lobby, or some hobby stores carry it, I'm sure. You can find it online. It comes in, I've seen it now in 1 mil and 8 mil and 6 mil. It comes in many different sizes. But I've taped so many. This was like $4.99, and I've taped like 8 or 9 or 10 bodies, and some of them twice. So it goes a long way. I peeled this one off here so you could see, you can see my line from my marker, but I didn't mark that first. I tape first. So I start with a single piece, and I find my entrance. I could either start on the front, or I find my entrance, either on the front or in the back, wherever it comes in, wherever I want that natural first straight line to start. And you just run it like to infinity, as if, you're just gonna make a nice straight line there. And then I don't worry about trying to pull it through the curve. Maybe if I had some thinner tape, I would pull it around the curve. But I just have some other tape sitting pre-cut. And then, what you're doing is you're just going to make a curve eventually by putting a bunch of little tiny straight angles together. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because that's going to come in the finish product of filing or it would be grinding in the 1-to-1 world. We'd be grinding this, but a little bit of a stretch right there, and just a time. I didn't try to make this go around there yet. I'm going to add a few pieces together and come around the curve. It's not, and I'm semi-following a natural body line that's in here. And you could just get crazy with your scissors and go in there and cut it. I prefer to have something to follow. And so I do it this way. Not only does it give me a more substantial line to follow. It allows me to sit with it for a couple days before I actually cut the fender. So putting the tape on there, I can run it and look at it and hold it and check it and, you know. So I retaped that back up, finished that, and you know, it's not exactly perfect, but like I said, it's a guide. I cut an 1/8 or a 1/16 off of that line with these scissors, and these are a curved blade, like pruning grape shear, or whatever you want to cut with it. And I just, you know, just work the curve, and it comes out very nicely. Let's look at this body right here. And I wanted to show you, you know, like I have this taped up, and I literally have one of these fenders taped up on this rig. I've had it sitting here. It runs. I've run it. It ran out in the yard. I think there's a video with it taped up like this, because I'm just mentally sitting with, do I want to cut these fenders? Is that the line I want to cut these fenders on? You know, the tape's not hurting anything. It's not going to go anywhere. And it gives me a good idea. You know, I watch where my tires flex in. Am I going to run bigger tires on this rig? Most likely, yes. These were just on wheels. I put them on here. So, yeah, you know, you tape it up. You can sit with it for a while, and you're not, you know, putting scratches or whatever in it. And you can really get a good line. And once you have one, you know, you just mirror it over here and keep looking, make sure you're doing mirror. And like I said, don't cut right to the line. You want to leave a little bit of room for error and something to work with. So I just, you know, come in and I start my cut. I might start my very beginning cut real close. Maybe more than that, or closer than that 16th, or nah, we're still a 16th off. It's really neat the way these scissors happen to work. If you are holding them this way, the flat of the edge, you know, it's truly where it's at. That's truly where the cut is. So, I'm sorry, it cuts on the front edge, so you can use the rear edge as your guide. And I'm just holding that front edge off of the taped edge about a mil. I don't know, maybe a six, you know, I don't know. What is the 16th? Is that a millimeter? I don't know. It's a 16th in my head, but it's probably a millimeter in the life of this. You know, it's almost like a real metal shear the way these particular scissors work. Once again, I don't own Lexan scissors, so I don't know how a Lexan scissor works, but I'm able to do most of my fenders in one smooth cut like that, where I just end up with some, you know, sheet metal. Sheet metal I could hang on the garage wall over there, those fender cuts. Make some flares out of them or something. And, you know, and then you see that I have a little bit of space right there left, and I will trim some with the scissor, and we will file the rest. So what I'll do is I'll come back the opposite direction, start my cut on this side this time, and I still have my scissors inverted. I'm working the curve. And I'm just taking a sliver off, right? And you're not gonna do a clean cut all the way through. I just left a little bit more material down here in this corner than I did in the rest of the fender here. So I'm just gonna snip a little bit out. And one reason I don't like snipping it out like that is you end up with a rough corner, and so I'm just gonna stop and I'll work my file through that roughness and all the way to the tape edge, and I'll be happier with my finished product that way. So the main files that I use are two mini files, one that has a curved profile to it, and then a pointy end, and then a fully flat. I also use a larger mill bastard when I first start to take more material, and I can use this edge and this edge, and I sometimes will use just the head of it like that, against the edge of the Lexan. So yeah. Anyhow, I'll get started on filing this one, and then I won't bore you with the rest. See how I'm, laying it on the angle of approach and just getting a filed edge started. And I'm barely touching it right there, but here in the little chippy section that I was talking about, I will use this edge, and I don't just go in one spot. I'm gonna file all along the fender, and I'm just, it's Lexan, and this is a big metal. This file is designed to do this to metal. So I'm not using a ton of pressure, but I am applying some. And we will have, I can hear it, I can see it. There's dust on my fingertips. I can tell that I'm, it's kind of a grind and a melt process. And I'm literally to the point where I've worked past that little bit of scissoring effect that I didn't like, the little snip effect. And I've worked the Lexan out of that possible, I could have possibly cracked in from there. So with just that much filing, I've already changed it. So I'm going to get off the big file, and I'm going to go after it with a little file for a minute with the curved edge. And then I just, the flat and the curve, between the flat and the curved where I need them, I will just continue the process, and I'll show you it when I get to the tape line. So one of the nice things about tape is that even when you use like a fairly permanent marker, this much holding with your fingers and whatnot, it's just, it wears it off, and then you lose your line and you file past it or whatever. But I'm just working towards the line, and eventually I'll get there, and then I'll pull the tape once I get to the line, and then I can really see if I have an imperfection, like something that's just a little wave in it or whatnot. And I've seen a lot of fender work out there where people just don't care and then just cut square and cut past the lines and just tape it up on the backside or whatever they do. And hey, if that's what you're doing and that's good enough for you, then get after it, and that's good. This is another way to do it. So as you file and you get closer and you just start moving your edge in this direction, you'll build up a little lip or a little burr on the inside or the outside, depending on which direction you're really filing. And you need to take one of your small files and just kind of work that off, but don't dig too far. Don't get into your paint too much. Just take that little plastic burr off, because what happens is the plastic kind of melts as you're filing it. It's not a perfect science, and as it cools, it's harder than the Lexan that's next to it. And so that lip prevents you from actually furthering your progress when it builds up to a certain degree. And then, so you just gotta just kind of get that off, and you don't want to leave it on there for your finish anyway. So just a tiny bit more here, and we're filed and completed. You can see now, you know, we're following that line. And, you know, up in this corner, it's a little odd, but when we get the tape off, it'll look a little different, and we will be able to smooth out the line. So, you know, like, get the roundness to it. If there's a square spot in the corner, we'll fix that later. But it's pretty close. I mean, these kind of have an odd shape to them. They're not a real round shape like this. You know, I mean, I used a perfect circle for that. That was the inside of a mason jar lid, so you can see both sides of your pattern. So, all right, so we're gonna pull the tape on this one and get a closer look. Yeah, it looks like I scraped my headlight there, but, you know, hopefully some decal, or I'll just put a little touch up right there. And yeah, you got the filed edge that, you know, you can just get that off with your fingernail. You know, you see how that just kind of peeled up right there. And I don't even have very good fingernails, so yeah. But I don't like the squareness of this corner. I want to put a little belly in that right there to give it a little bit of round. I don't mind the squareness of this one, and then we'll take a little bit of material right there as well. Seems like a small little wave. But I just do all that by eye. And if I'm gonna make a belly, I try to use a round, and, you know, I just start in the middle, and I go very lightly. This is why I don't use a Dremel. You know, some people are like, it's so much work. Well, you know, whatever. Dremel, you take too much and it's gone. You can't put the material back. Maybe someone can, but I can't. So, nice and slow and steady wins the race in this kind of thing, in my opinion. So, you know, there's a couple imperfections here, and we'll just go ahead and work those out. You know, I want to put a little belly right here, and there's just a little bit of wave right in here. I like this line pretty much where it is. So I'll do a little work right here. And one other thing, if you've made it this far, please like, subscribe, and share, comment. You know, I love it. I like to put a little round to this corner right here. And, you know, I mean, out of the factory, you see that's got, oh no, this is another cut I did. It's my first cut. You know, these are crawlers, and I know this sits on a skid, but it might not sit right there. If it has a sharp corner, it's just one more sharp thing for anything to catch on. Round is pretty good. So just a little bit of it. I don't know. My preference. Thanks for coming along for the journey, guys. And this is probably going to take more than the rest of the day to get magnets. I don't have magnets on the chassis yet, and I haven't put magnets on the body yet. And if you haven't put magnets on your body or chassis yet, Maz just dropped a video earlier today, so check that out. And thanks for coming along. Appreciate you guys. Every single one of you. Have a wonderful day, and go out and play. I'm going to probably take a break and go hit the rocks.